Samling. Josh Wright again, looking for Connor Wilkinson. He finds Josh Wright, and in the centre is Joby McAnuff. McAnuff, who didn't feature against Northampton, but did play on Wednesday night in the side that lost at home to West Ham United's under-23s, who did impress. It's a throw to Leyton Orient. And what do you make of the opening 7 minutes or so of this one, Matt?
Well, it's a very different type of game to the one we saw on Wednesday night. I think Gillingham are quite happy to knock the ball down the channels. West Ham under-23s very much a more skilled team. Don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but I think they were quite happy getting the ball down and playing. Gillingham, you see there, the wing back, quite happy to throw the ball back to the goalkeeper, who'll take one touch, and he's quite happy to smash it long. Very strong, very tall, very physical team, as you'd expect with Steve Evans, and that's shown in the early stages here. As I say, Gillingham quite happy to play some long ball football.
Although they've signed 10 players, it's not a particularly big squad, is it, Gillingham? They had so many players on loan last season.
Yeah, not particularly big as in number of players, but certainly big as in size, because when you look at them, and again, look at the players that Steve Evans have brought in, one of them chasing the ball down there is Verdane Oliver, who celebrated promotion, of course, with Northampton, and the big man has signed for Gillingham. Of course, on the bench this afternoon for the Gills is John Akindi, another player that those fans will be familiar with, as Vigouroux looks to play the ball out wide for Connor Wilkinson, who wins the header. Danny Johnson can't pick up the second ball, and again, Gillingham quite happy to play the ball back to the keeper, who smashes it out to the right-hand touchline.
Yes, it's gone away for a throw to the O's. I understand there may have been some difficulties with commentary. I've been assured that it's coming through now. If you can hear us, you can let us know on 07884. No, 07748 774 301. That's a text, which is 07748 774 301. Or you can tweet at Dulcet Dave. If you can hear us, if you could let us know, it would be very much appreciated. We've heard a couple of people that are having difficulties, but hopefully it's okay now.
Tackles are flying in, aren't they, Dave? Early stages here. We saw James Brophy taken out with a very aggressive slide from McDonald on the right-hand side. So, as I say, from a physical perspective, pre-season, there's some pretty hard challenges going in here.
And there will be, with so many players virtually making their first appearance for Gillingham. They want to impress Steve Evans. They face Southend United in the League Cup, do the Gills, and then it's Hull City will be the first opposition in League One, as the ball goes back to Lawrence Vigouroux, and he lays it out to the left-hand side, and it's now with James Brophy. Brophy stops and checks midway inside the Leyton Orient half and offers it square, and you can hear the wind. Before the game we were saying it was a chilly afternoon, but it wasn't windy, but it feels as if it's got a bit gusty now as we stand high on the 5th floor of the Justin Edinburgh stand. Ball played down the right-hand channel, and it's gone away for a throw to the O's. And lots of people saying that, yep, the commentary is coming through loud and clear. Thank you very much to everybody for letting us know. That's very good to know. So I think we should explain that Leyton Orient are wearing the braces, the white shirts with the 2 red stripes, and they're attacking the north stand in this first half. We'll go through the lineups just in case you missed them early on, and we should also explain that Gillingham haven't got numbers on the backs of their shirts, so the ball has gone away for a throw to the O's on the halfway line, wide on the right hand side. How do they line up, Matt?
Yeah, let's start with the O's. Lawrence Vigouroux is in goal. It's a back 4 line with James Brophy at left back, Dan Happy and Jamie Turley, the 2 centre halves. Sam Ling is at right back. Then it's a midfield which consists of Joby McAnuff, Usise and Josh Wright, with a 3-man attacking line with Danny Johnson down the middle. On the left-hand side is Jordan Maguire-Drew, and on the right is Connor Wilkinson. So it looks as though it's a 4-3-3 formation for the O's. Gills, they line up with 5 at the back. It's a 5-3-2. In goal for the Gills is Jack Bonham. It's a 5-man backline of Jackson, Tucker, Medley, McKenzie, Agilvy. Jackson on the right, Agilvy on the left. Tucker, Medley, McKenzie, the 3 centre halves. Then a 3-man midfield with Stuart O'Keefe on the left. In the middle is Willock. He has come on, well, he started the game instead of Carl Dempsey, the Gill skipper, who was on the team sheet. We understand he may have missed out due to an injury knock. And on the right-hand side is McDonald. The two-man attack for the Gills is Verdane Oliver and Jordan Graham. And as I say, if you missed it early on, Gillingham have lost one, maybe two players through the pre-match warm-up, because Carl Dempsey, we think, may have missed out, but a man who definitely missed out was Christian Magoma, who was making his first start for Gillingham. We understand he tweaked a groin in the warm-up, so he has dropped out the squad completely.
Defender, central defender, signed on loan from Tottenham Hotspur, I think for the season. They do specialise in these long-term loans, don't they, the North Kent club, and that's why they've had to sign so many players during the summer, because so many had returned to their parent club, and they've got a couple of players that haven't confirmed their future for next season, which includes Hanlon, as the ball is played into the Gillingham penalty area. Opportunity here, the flag goes up, and the shot was from
Danny Johnson, wasn't it? Would have felt he could have done better. It wouldn't have counted anyway, because as you say, the flag went up, but it fell nicely to him on the edge of the box. It's a floated free kick from Maguire-Drew, and just fell to Johnson, hitting it first time on the volley with the right foot. Scuffed the effort, if truth be told, but the flag went up anyway.
So it's going to be Jack Bonham to take this free kick for Gillingham. We have played almost 14 minutes of this one, and it's goalless. I can't remember a clear-cut chance.
No, it hasn't been one as yet, as Dan Happy heads the ball back. Lawrence Vigouroux does ever so well to get across, but he's distributed it early to James Brophy.
Brophy plays it out to the left flank. Jordan Maguire-Drew back to Joby McAnuff, who's under a lot of pressure, and he skies the ball into touch, and that will be a throw to Gillingham.
Yeah, I think Ross Embleton there making the point to Lawrence Vigouroux. I don't think he wanted that ball distributed as early as Vigouroux did, because he put James Brophy under a bit of pressure. Brophy played the ball back to McAnuff. In the end, McAnuff, again, the pressing from Gillingham forced him into putting the ball out of play. And now the O's are going to defend a long throw.
Ryan Jackson, I think, is the man who's going to deliver this one in. In fact, it's a short throw. Danny Johnson got caught then as he made the tackle on Jackson.
Well, this
got winded, didn't he?
He did, yeah. Again, Danny Johnson working hard, but almost ran into a wall there, didn't he? Because Ryan Jackson stood his ground, and Danny Johnson bounced off him. This will definitely be a long throw. I think he realised he made the wrong option, taking it short in the first place. This is coming into the penalty area.
Dave Boone can hear us loud and clear on the Isle of Wight, as another long throw goes into the Leyton Orient penalty area, and it's off the top of the head of James Brophy and away for the first corner of the afternoon to the Gills. So it's a 2-1 as far as the corner count is concerned, and this one will be taken in front of the empty Tommy Johnson stand away to our right.
Yeah, you could just see, couldn't you, there, the ball, it was hanging in the wind, and we spoke about the conditions. It's had colder today, but also a little bit windy out there.
Graham takes this corner kick and comes towards the edge of the Leyton Orient penalty area, and it's the O's leading the counter-attack now with James Brophy. Brophy looks for Connor Wilkinson. Brophy got taken out then. That's not the first time we've said that this afternoon, is it?
No, because Brophy's pace causes problems, and on that particular occasion, the O's were on a counter-attack. He had three men to his options there. On the left was Maguire-Drew, Wilkinson was peeling off, Johnson was running to the right, and Brophy was really putting it into cruise control. In the end, Gillingham decided to trip him up just inside their own half, and I think they were fortunate they did so, because Orient were on the attack.
McAnuff finds Brophy, and Brophy looking for Jordan Maguire-Drew, is asking a lot of him, and wasn't the best of passes, and I think that's the sort of thing that Jordan Maguire-Drew is trying to explain to his colleague.
Yeah, it just had a bit too much weight on it, didn't it, from James Brophy? Right idea and good movement from Maguire-Drew, but just needed a better quality pass there.
So we've had a couple of texts come through on 07748 774 301 as Joby McAnuff switches it out to the right-hand side in Sam Ling. Back again to Joby McAnuff, and he finds Lawrence Vigouroux. We've got Bishop Stortford on Monday, and then we're off when it starts for real in the League Cup at Forest Green. And then, of course, it's Oldham in the league, with Mansfield to follow. And there's quite a strong Mansfield connection in this Gillingham side, and that's because both Paul Rayner and Steve Evans were in charge at Phil Mill. And it's Gillingham that have possession on the far side with Ogivi.
Brought in another player as well, didn't they? Ex-Mansfield, Jacob Mellis, who's on the bench this afternoon for the Gills.
I think this is Jackson, isn't it, wide on the right-hand side, and he gets in a decent cross, and it's an opportunity here, and a shot, I think, from Graham. Yeah. I keep saying I think, because they haven't got numbers on the back. You can help me out here.
It was definitely Graham, Dave, and it was a good knockdown from Oliver as well. You could tell that they worked that one well to the wing-back. Jackson floated the ball in, good knockdown from Oliver. He's a real handful.
He is a good player. They were absolutely delighted on social media, the Gillingham supporters, when Jordan Graham committed his future to the Gills. He's been at Wolves for quite some time, but he was at Priestfield on loan last season, but it's now a permanent move for Jordan Graham. And he's played 7 games last season for the Gills. 6 years at Wolves. He only made 17 appearances. The ball is on the edge of the Leyton Orient penalty area with Sam Ling. There's a man down, and he really is Dan Happy, isn't he?
Yeah, a clash of heads there. Dan Happy and Verdane Oliver both competing for the same ball. I think Dan Happy may have just headed the back of Oliver's head there. Nasty one, but Dan Happy, being the young man he is, gets straight to his feet.
And I think one of the reasons why Jordan Graham didn't play many games for Wolves is because he was out on loan all the time, the likes of Ipswich, Oxford, Fulham and even Aston Villa. Let's hear from Les, who's got in touch at Dulcet Dave.
Yeah, good afternoon to him. He's asking the question, is James Brophy playing as a left-back or playing wide? Well, he's playing as a left-back in a 4-man back-line, which consists of Brophy, Happy, Turley and Link.
Jordan Maguire on the left, isn't it, and Wilkinson on the right at the moment?
Yeah, they have switched already in this game. Initially Maguire started on the right, but they've switched at the moment, and Maguire is currently playing down the left with Wilkinson on the right and Danny Johnson down the middle.
Gillingham deliver it long. It's Jackson making the overlapping run. He's got space, he's got it in a low cross, and it's cut out well by James Brophy, who prevented it to running through to Graham, and it's spun away for a goal kick to Leyton Orient. Good work from James Brophy.
Yeah, it was, again, doing his defensive duties. It's an interesting one, isn't it? There's a lot of discussion as to whether he would make more impact going forward as a wide player, but I think one thing that we can say is James Brophy's never let anyone down from a defensive perspective. When he has played at left back, he obviously, we know about his attacking qualities, but defensively, we've already seen a couple of times this afternoon, his positional play, his positional sense, his covering play, he's excellent.
Vigouroux with the long clearance touched on by Connor Wilkinson. Johnson finds McAnuff moving forward in a central position, and it's still with Joby McAnuff. He goes for goal, and that tests the goalkeeper, and that's the first shot we've had in this game, and we waited 20 minutes for it.
Yeah, it was relatively comfortable for Jack Bonham, but fair play to Joby McAnuff, the old skipper, who made the opportunity for himself. Neat bit of play, cutting inside, bringing the ball onto his right foot. 25 yards out, hit it low and hard, but to say too central to really test Jack Bonham, who again releases the ball very quickly, direct, long, looking for Oliver. We've seen that a couple of times already now.
So it's a throw to Gillingham, and one that Jackson is going to take, and he finds Graham. Jackson's made the overlapping one on the right hand side. It's with Jackson. Jackson's cross is blocked by James Brophy, and it's Gillingham. Surely that was handball, and the referee saying I don't think it was, as the ball is with the Gills on the halfway line. It's Willock. He looks for Jackson on the right hand side, and coming across is James Brophy, and that's going to be a goal kick to Leyton Orient.
Yep, and we say good afternoon to the O's chairman Nigel Travis, who's texted in. Always good to hear from you, Nigel. He says, David, Matt, want to just position with the fans. Thanks again for all their support through this summer. Absolutely fantastic loyalty shown. And he again wants to remind all supporters that streaming will be absolutely critical this season for the club. And so today, of course, they're doing the experimenting just to make sure it's perfected for the start of the competitive games, which, of course, as you mentioned, Dave, start next week at Forest Green. And I see the O's have already put out the option to acquire a streaming pass for that particular game. I'm sure there'll be a lot of interest, the first real competitive game for the O's in the League Cup. And of course, let's not forget Forest Green, what happened down here. I think it's going to be quite spicy.
It is. I'm looking forward to it as the ball goes away on the far side for a throw to Leyton Orient. And there's going to be a break.
There is, yeah. We wondered whether they would do it.
Because it's such a cold and windy afternoon, isn't it?
Well, very much to the point that we've both zipped up our sort of tops and coats that we're wearing, because it is a bit chilly up here on the 5th floor at the moment. But the players, well, I'm sure they won't be chilly down there. They're working hard and they're taking the opportunity to come over. I think this is more for the coaches, really, isn't it, than taking on the fluids at this point. I know the fitness and conditioning coach is obviously chucking the water bottles out, but Ross Embleton wasting no time to bark out some instructions.
So let's speculate then, and we've got this break, and looking at this starting 11, how many of these do you think you would see lining up against Forest Green, and would that be the same sort of lineup you'd expect for the following week at Oldham?
It's a good question, Dave, and it's an interesting question. I think Ross Embleton, by this stage, will know in his head at least 9 out the 11 starters for next week. And we've talked a lot about the squad, and there will be a lot of need for the squad this season. 25-man squad. I noted earlier that Miles Judd, Ruel Sotiriou not involved today. Louis Dennis, we understand, has got an injury, which is probably going to require another 10 days rest and recuperation. But I think the likelihood is we possibly are looking certainly 9 or 10 of these players being the starting 11 for next week.
So the break is almost complete. James Brophy still in conversation with Danny Sender.
I should imagine the one, say to clarify that as well, the one that potentially could be that change will be Lee Angol, because you look at what he's produced in pre-season. I think he's had a good start to his pre-season campaign. He's found the net.
There's real competition up front, isn't there?
Yeah, and that's exactly what you would want from Ross Embleton's perspective. He'll want 2 players fighting for every position in the team. He'll want competition. Of course, there's going to be a long season ahead. It always is. Competitions, of course, the EFL Trophy. Whilst they bring their controversies, that they'll be important for Ross Embleton to make sure players are getting games and minutes. And of course, you will pick up injuries. There will be suspensions. It's a long old campaign, so he will need every one of these players this season. But to answer the question, are we looking at potentially the first team or the 11 that will start next week? Maybe we are.
It's out on the far side. Gillingham have possession. Is this Tucker? I think it is.
It is, yeah.
And he plays it out to the left-hand side. He doesn't find O'Keefe.
No, he didn't. Just overhit the pass, didn't he? But again, real difference in the pre-season, and you can say Orient have, when you look back on the games so far, we've seen all of them. That there's a real balance and difference in the games. Today, it's a very direct game of football from what we've seen so far. Gillingham not wasting any time to get the ball forward, looking for the forward men.
And that was a foul. Was that by O'Keefe?
I think that may have been a Gilvey on the left-hand side.
Thank you very much, Gilvey.
Yep, the left wing back.
The reason I'm asking these questions, and you know, I've an age now where my eyesight's failing a bit, but the numbers on the backs aren't helping. And when you're looking at the formation, and when you've got 3 players out on the left-hand side, it is a bit of a guess, isn't it? Yeah,
I can recognise most of the Gillingham players and got the formation written down and done the research beforehand, but 2 late changes doesn't help, does it? That's the
sure.
thing that does throw you. On the team sheet there's 2 changes, and
but this is definitely James Brophy. He's moving forward with pace wide on the left-hand side. Got caught from behind by Graham. No, he didn't, according to the referee. That definitely was a foul by Joby McAnuff.
That was a foul that Joby McAnuff knew exactly what he was doing, didn't he? Because it was clever play from Graham. He just nicked the ball past McAnuff. He was going to raid down the right-hand side, and James Brophy just got caught in possession there. McAnuff realised that he had to make that foul, and he did so.
Ogilvy looking for possession on the edge of the penalty area. I think it was Graham who got there first, and it's out on the right for the O's, And here is Connor Wilkinson. Wilkinson bearing down on the Gillingham penalty area. Decent tackle made.
It was a good tackle, wasn't it? Wilkinson, you could see what he was trying to do, just cut inside. He likes to do that.
Here's Jackson wide on the right for Gillingham. And the overlapping fullback being pursued by Joby McAnuff. A sliding tackle on the referee, and you really did need to see that one to really appreciate it, because it was a perfect tackle on the assistant referee, and he went stumbling over Joby McAnuff. It's just a shame that he didn't have the ball.
I thought it was the best tackle we've seen of the game, Dave. Joby McAnuff slid in, and he laughs about it now and has a word with the linesman on this near side, but yeah, he just took him out completely there.
Well, Joby's still laughing about it. You know, all those years of playing football, I wonder if he's ever done that before. Incredible. It's Joby McAnuff on the ball, and he finds James Brophy. Brophy plays it forward. It's been intercepted, and Josh White plays it back to Joby McAnuff. Early ball from Joby McAnuff. Jamie Turley with the header up into the air towards this near side, and it's McAnuff who finds Brophy. Brophy cuts inside, does ever so well under a lot of pressure there from Graham, and it's out on the right now for Leyton Orient, and that's going to be a throw to Leyton Orient, some 20 yards inside the Gillingham half.
Yeah, good play there again from James Brophy. Cut inside, and the pressure was on. 2 or 3 Gillingham players trying to win the ball back off him, but he released the ball at a critical time. It was the right pass, a simple pass, and here comes Wilkinson.
Connor Wilkinson on the edge of the penalty area, trying to create the space for the shot. He's found Joby McAnuff. Another strike from Joby McAnuff. This time it took a deflection. We've only had 2 opportunities in the game from the O's, and they both came from Joby McAnuff. And we say good afternoon to Caroline.
Yeah, we do. Good afternoon to her. She says commentary coming through loud and clear, and even got some pictures to go with it as well. So I suspect that might be from the club's Twitter account, maybe some action shots, possibly from Simon O'Connor, but she's enjoying watching the O's in the braces kit this afternoon.
On the right-hand side is Jackson, gets a return ball from Graham. It's with Ryan Jackson, and Jackson taking on James Brophy. Comes back again to Jordan Graham. It's Gillingham that had possession in a central position. Comes out to the right-hand side, and Graham taking on Maguire Drew, and it's Cisse whose header finds Connor Wilkinson, who nutmegs his man. Sliding in is Josh White, got caught then. It's his knee, isn't it? And here's Connor Wilkinson on the left-hand side. The referee allowing play to continue. Dan Johnson with a left foot strike, took a deflection. Opportunity here, and it's a save from denying Cisse. It comes back again towards Cisse, joy scoring against his former club. But Josh White's in a lot of pain down there as the game continues. It's now with Connor Wilkinson. Josh White hasn't even tried to get onto his feet. It's now with James Brophy, and the referee has stopped it, and that's exactly what should happen, because we don't want to take any risks at this stage of the season. But it didn't look good, did it?
Ross Embleton is not happy at all. You can see down there the physical challenge that came in. Steve Evans just as a quiet word, as does Paul Rayner, but I can understand why Ross Embleton weren't happy with that. It was the follow-through. I don't think the intent was there, Dave. I think it was just misjudged, and unfortunately Josh Wright got there first, and it was the forward, wasn't it, Jordan Graham, who just followed through. Danny Johnson now having a few words with Graham, and I think Graham's putting his hands up to sort of say, look, he acknowledges it was a mistake, he got there late, but for Josh Wright, probably not going to accept that apology right now, because he is in a fair degree of pain down there.
Colin has been in touch via text, which you can do on 07748 774 301.
Yep, and it's Colin who's actually just making the point that Brian Moore, the former commentator, was a lifelong Gillingham supporter. Did you know that,
I think he's got
Dave?
a stand named after him. You know that big old open...
The scaffolding
yes,
one? Yeah,
I think that's named after Brian Moore. Indeed, I did know Brian Moore's connection with Gillingham. He was very open about it, a fantastic commentator.
Well, if Orient ever name a stand after you, Dave, I hope you get a better effort than the scaffolding at Gillingham.
It's how are we going to resume this one? And Josh Wright, at least he's walking off the pitch.
Yeah, feeling the effects, no doubt.
Is he going to continue?
Well, I think he's got to his feet, which is a good sign. Look, he's obviously having a word with the assistant referee.
The assistant referee saying, "Gosh, you should have seen the tackle on me."
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, the referee played the advantage, so he would have blown for the challenge. It wasn't a case of he didn't give the foul, but Orient were on the attack, and they nearly scored from it.
It is good news that Josh White is going to be okay to continue. I hope they're not taking any risks here.
Well, I think he would have had a conversation with the physio, and the physio would have assessed his injury, but they clearly feel that he's okay to carry on. As I say, I mean, it looked as though he caught him with the studs just on the knee, and as I say, I don't believe the intent was there. I think it was just mistimed.
A drop ball which Gillingham didn't contest, and it's gone away for a throw to Leyton Orient, and Connor Wilkinson delivers it back to James Brophy. Brophy curls the cross in, and it's going to be Gilfie on the left-hand side who drives it long, looking for Graham. And that's now with Lance Vigouroux. Rolls the ball underarm to Dan Happy. Happy takes it away from Oliver.
Yep, Verdane Oliver, he's working hard, isn't he, the big man? Again, chasing a lot of balls down the channel at the moment for Gillingham, but I have to say, Dan Happy and Jamie Turley have marshalled him pretty well thus far.
Now 30 years of age is Oliver, started at Colchester, of course, more recently with AFC Wimbledon. It's a throw to the O's, and one that's going to be taken by Sam Ling. And a push in the back on Josh White, and it's a free kick to Leyton Orient. And Josh White, he looks okay, doesn't he?
He doesn't look happy, but from a fitness perspective, he's got to his feet. He's still limping a tad.
He's gritting his teeth now, rubbing his knee.
Yeah, I think it's one of those a sore one, to say the least. Studs on the knee.
Yeah, it's going to be a free kick to the O's, and one that Jordan Maguire-Drew will take. Once Mackenzie, was it O'Keefe, that's got to go back at least 8 yards. Come on, he's about 6 yards away from the ball. It's Jordan Maguire-Drew takes that ball into the box. Cisse just couldn't get his shot away. It's Leyton Orient that pick up the second ball on the left-hand side with Joby McAnuff. Back to Lance Vigouroux.
Yeah, interesting incident there, Dave. Just as the ball was being delivered, I noticed Connor Wilkinson throw something in the direction of the Gillingham goalkeeper. I think it was a bit of tape from his sock, but just to try and put him off the delivery, and the goalkeeper realised what was happening and quickly moved the tape away as it fell right next to him. But
Cisse finds Brophy inside the centre circle. Brophy moving forward, and he's got options to his right, and he tries to find Sam Ling. He won't with that ball. It's gone away for a goal kick.
Yeah, right idea. Just again over hit the pass there, or just lacking that little bit of quality in the final third at the moment, and hence that's probably as a result, as I say, haven't really tested the goalkeeper. Just 2 efforts from Joby McAnuff, which Jack Bonham dealt with relatively comfortable, but I think Ross Embleton will be demanding a little bit more in that final third at the moment.
Dave Boone's been in touch.
Yep, he's asking a question: how would you suggest fans get to listen this season? Live stream on the website, or is it on YouTube? Well, that's probably a question you can answer.
I think it's going to be on the live stream. I don't think there'll be a free option on YouTube, so I think it's just the video service, I assume.
I think you can get in touch on the Orient website. It's got the full details of how you can listen to the stream, and obviously the game next Saturday, the passes, they've already launched them, so absolutely look on the Orient website, and of course the Twitter account, which is continuing to deliver clear communications as to how you can watch and listen to the games this season.
It's a free kick to Leyton Orient, and it's one that's going to be taken 15 yards inside the Gillingham half by Sam Ling. Forward is Cisse and Jamie Turley. Dan Happy has stayed back as Sam Ling delivers this one towards Jamie Turley. Came off the back of his head, looking for Dan Johnson, and the clearance from the Gills goes out towards this near side. They didn't score many goals last season, Gillingham, and they drew a lot of games, and watching the opening 36 minutes of this one, you can see why.
Yeah, keep things very tight, don't they? They don't play all out attack. Looking at the style of play thus far, it's been very very direct, very long, but they look very organised, and that's probably the reason why, as you say, their games have been relatively tight encounters.
Tucker with the free kick, flicked on by Graham out towards this near side, and that's gone away for a throw to Leyton Orient.
Yeah, the fizz of the game just been taken out somewhat, hasn't it, since that injury to Josh Wright. As I say, not been too many chances for either team. Joby McAnuff with a couple of distant shots, but Gillingham haven't really produced much thus far.
Graham hits the ball back into the Gillingham half. Tucker, safety first, back to Jack Bonham, formerly with Bristol Rovers. Bonham taking the ball out of the penalty. He started his career at Watford, where he just made the one appearance. Born in Hertfordshire, of course. As Tucker floats it forward, cut out well by Dan Happy. Happy plays it to the halfway line, and it's Jordan Maguire-Drew didn't bring it under control. And on this right flank, it's Graham who's being busy for Gillingham. He finds Jackson. Jackson pulls it back, and Wilcock. This ball is cut out by Cisse. He finds Connor Wilkinson. Here is Josh Wright. Josh Wright looking far more comfortable now after that nasty looking knee knock that he received. And it's out on the right flank. It was Dan Johnson who can get the cross in. Yeah,
first time we saw Gillingham retain possession there. 4 or 5 passes, but again broke down with Willock, didn't it? And again, you have to say from an Orient perspective, that back four look relatively stable at the moment. Happy and Turley doing a good job on marshalling Verdane Oliver, who's a big tall man, as Danny Johnson trying to close down the space yet again. Works ever so hard, doesn't he, Danny Johnson?
And I think we heard from Dave Boone just a few moments ago, and now we hear from Luke Lamborn.
Yep, he's saying about the streaming through the Orient website, not YouTube this season. I think, as I say, we mentioned that it will be only available through the club. It won't be on YouTube, and they've just been exception games for pre-season. But if you're looking to stream, obviously you can log on to the Leyton Orient website with full details.
I hope that clarifies that. It's Ogivi with the cross in, and that's gone away for a corner kick to Gillingham. So it's 2-2 as far as the corners are concerned, but I don't think the Gills have had a real shot on target yet, have they?
No, they haven't. As I say, the Orient back four at the moment look very organised, keeping Oliver quiet, and Gillingham haven't really produced much from their midfield. But it's a bit of a scrappy game, if truth be told, at the moment, Dave.
It is. Graham is the man who's going to take this corner kick in front of the Tommy Johnson stand, and with the right foot the ball is a low one. Ogilvie left it, and Leyton Orient were able to clear through James Brophy. Something for both Maguire-Drew and Dan Johnson to chase, and it's now with Joby McAnuff. McAnuff plays it back to Cisse, and we say good afternoon to Brian.
Yep, in Northfield. He's haven't heard you mention Craig Clay this afternoon, asking why that is. Well, it's because he's on the bench. He's not playing.
Shall we go through the lineup for Brian?
Well, we can do. Yep, it's Lawrence Vigouroux in goal. It's a back four of Brophy, Happy, Turley and Ling. Cisse, McAnuff and Wright, the 3-man midfield, with Wilkinson, Johnson and Maguire-Drew making the 11th player. On the bench for the O's, Sam Sargent, Joe Widdowson, Josh Coulson, Craig Clay, James Dayton, Lee Angol and Shadrach Oggy.
Hope that clears up. That clears out for you, Brian. As out on the far side, the ball has gone away for a throw to Gillingham. Ogilvie is the man who's going to take this one. And the former Spurs youngster, and, joined Gillingham in 2019. Scored 3 goals in his 20 appearances. It's Gillingham with Ogilvie wide on the far side. He finds Graham. Graham takes it. Oh, that was a terrible first-time touch. What on earth was he trying to achieve there? He tackled himself, didn't he?
He just took too heavy on the touch, wasn't he? Trying to take the ball round Sam Ling. Sam Ling knew that there was no way that Jordan Graham was going to retain possession there. But it probably sums up Gillingham from an attacking perspective. Haven't really seen much at all, have we? We mentioned the game's turned a little bit scrappy, but it's been a game of very few chances.
The ball is back with Lawrence Vigouroux, looking for Connor Wilkinson. Useful workout is what I'm sure you would describe this so far, because it's not been entertaining, has it?
It's, as I say, I mean, the positives, Ross Embleton also Orient are clearly matching Gillingham, who of course a League One side.
They're a good League One side. We finished 10th last season and only had the one defeat since Christmas prior to lockdown. And I think they feel that if it wasn't for lockdown, they would have finished higher than the 10th position.
Yeah, they were on
a
run.
They actually were 11th, weren't they, when the season stopped?
Yeah, but they had the momentum. You're absolutely right, Dave, and I think you always felt
because it was a poor start to the campaign for them in terms of results, wasn't it?
It was difficult, but they recovered well, and as you say, they were making that late run, late surge, aiming for the playoffs, but it was cut short for reasons which we all know.
It's Gillingham have it with Jackson on the right-hand side. Looks up, he's got options in the penalty area. He's played it short to O'Keefe. He plays it inside to Wilcock, and it's out to the right, and Jackson once more. Cross comes off the back of Joby McAnuff. Maguire-Drew loses out to Jackson. O'Keefe plays it to Tucker. Tucker on the halfway line. O'Keefe ahead of him. Back again to Tucker. He lays it into the centre of the defence. Mackenzie hits it long. Gilvey. He's cuddled by Sam Ling then. He sort of ran into Sam Ling. I think Sam Ling just said, I was trying to stop myself from falling over, but the free kick's been given to the League One team. Yeah,
Gilvey just trying to get round the back of Sam Ling, and I think Sam Ling was aware that he wanted to stop the run, but they've taken the free kick.
They have quickly. Graham with the cross into the box, and it's a header that goes over the bar.
Probably the best opportunity Gillingham have had so far. It was Oliver, and it was that man Graham, his strike partner, who crossed the ball for Oliver, and they took it quickly. And Oliver, his movement was good. He just peeled off to the back post, but the header wasn't the best.
No, it wasn't. 43 minutes we've waited for the first opportunity from Gillingham.
Yeah, haven't shown too much from a creative perspective, have they? But nonetheless, I think Ross Embleton will be happy with the test that the O's are facing here, a League One side. It's more of a physical encounter, isn't it? You look at the size, look across the Gillingham team. Very tall, mainly 6'1" in height. Some strong players as well, the likes of Oliver, Jackson, Gilvey, Willock, obviously the centre halves as well, Mackenzie. So much different game to what we saw on Wednesday night.
Cisse finds Maguire-Drew. Referee gets out of the way as Maguire-Drew lays it back to James Brophy. Little burst of pace from James Brophy, went down from Jackson. Let's catch up with the texts and tweets.
Yep, had a picture in from Orient Shire, who's wearing their braces kit, listening to the commentary from Sonny Skiathos, and had another one from Martin Strong as well, who's enjoying the commentary this afternoon.
Dan Happy takes the free kick. Orient wearing the braces, of course, this afternoon. As on this near side, Dan Johnson did well, and he's forced to throw to the O's, and it's in line with the 6-yard box.
Yeah, I've been impressed from what I've seen from Danny Johnson in pre-season. Perhaps hasn't had the return he would like with the goals. He has scored, he has found the net, but as a striker, you're always looking for goals, and you want them in abundance. But from a work perspective, work rate, work ethic, what he gives to the team, I think he's certainly doing a good job for Ross Embleton.
It's on the left flank with Connor Wilkinson. Wilkinson's got support from Joby McAnuff. Gillingham drew with Colchester. That was 0-0 in pre-season. They lost at Reading, and they beat Cambridge United. That was at the Priestfield Stadium. Most recent game was at Colchester, and they had a couple of days in North Essex, just as sort of a bonding exercise. So difficult for squads to go aboard at the moment. It's out on the pass side for Gillingham, and the ball is hit from left to right, and it's Jackson that has possession, and Jackson lays the ball back. We're going to stay with the chat over half-time. We'd love to hear from you. You can get in touch with your hopes and expectations for the forthcoming season. We want to hear them. You can text them through on 07748 774 301, or you can tweet at Dulcet Dave. Your hopes and expectations for next season, please share them at half-time.
As the ball goes away for a goal kick,
and one that's going to be taken by Lawrence Vigouroux. It's going to be such a strange season.
Yeah, very surreal feel to it, isn't it, Dave? As you say, even in the pre-season, just the setup.
Well, I make it we've played almost 47 minutes of this first half. There was that injury to Josh White, and of course we had the drinks break, which must have lasted a good sort of 5 minutes or so. Here is Connor Wilkinson. Wilkinson finds Josh White, and right back to Connor Wilkinson as the two former Gillingham players combine. It's Wilkinson trying to create the space to move into the penalty area. It's still stuck to the feet of Connor Wilkinson, and his cross was blocked, comes out to Dan Johnson, who got the shot away, but it rises high towards the back of the north stand.
Yeah, difficult to hit the target there as the referee.
That is the half-time whistle.
Does blow the whistle, but yeah, the ball fed into Danny Johnson, and again, he hasn't had many opportunities to shoot on goal, and again, couldn't resist. His back was turned. It was always going to be difficult to score from there, and in the end it rose into the top of the north stand. So not too much to talk about in terms of the highlights from that one, Dave.
No,
but,
no, it's I think it's pushing it. I'll tell you what the highlight was, without doubt. There is one thing that we will never forget, and that was Joby McAnuff taking out the assistant referee. Should we sort of reflect on that, because it was tremendous. He went in with the tackle, Joby, and he sort of followed through into the assistant referee. It was the way the assistant referee was flown up into the air and fell onto the ground. He lost his flag, but saw the funny side of it.
Yeah, it was the best. It was definitely the best tackle of the half, no doubt about that, but probably not for the young official, and I say that because he doesn't look more than sort of 20 years of age, but he took it in good heart, didn't he, despite the fact he was taken out. As I say, talking of tackles, there was one on Josh Wright, which at the time we felt that doesn't look too good. It was a real fierce challenge from Jordan Graham, the Gillingham striker. He slid in on Josh Wright, of course, is a former Gills player, but fortunately he managed to get up and carry on. Took him a few minutes to get back onto his feet, but yeah, hopefully that's nothing too serious and he will be okay for the upcoming campaign.
Absolutely. We were talking about the highlights. There were a couple of shots from Joby McAnuff. They didn't really test the goalkeeper, did they?
No, one of them in particular he made for himself, didn't he? Where again he just found a bit of room. McAnuff cut back in on the inside. He was on the edge of the 18-yard box, but so he got his laces through it, but didn't quite find the corner. It was too central for Jack Bonham, which made it easy for the Gills goalkeeper. And has to be said, Lawrence Vigouroux and Jack Bonham, they've had a relatively easy workout for the first 45 minutes there, haven't they? Neither of them have been involved too much, but as I say, from the coaching perspective, I think Steve Evans will be relatively happy with the way all Gillingham have set themselves up. They've looked organised, and Ross Embleton equally of the same token. He'll be happy. The back four have looked steady. We talked about during the first half, potentially, is this going to be the 11 we see when we kick things off at Forest Green next week in the Carabao Cup? Maybe so, but from what we saw on the first half there, as I say, wasn't too much creativity from either team. Both teams looking quite compact at times.
We were saying that we would love to hear from you at half-time, your hopes and expectations for the forthcoming campaign. Tweet at Dulcet Dave or text on 7748 774 301. That's 07748 774 301. We've had a couple of texts.
Yep, we have. We asked for supporters to communicate their thoughts and hopes for the season ahead. And one person who's done that is Jason, who often texts in. It's always good to hear from him. He says his hope is that Jordan Maguire-Drew can play 46 games this season, because he feels from a creativity perspective he's the best player in the Orient team. He does give you creativity, Maguire-Drew. On his day he can be unplayable. We saw a couple of goals from him towards the end of last year, didn't we? Good strikes. He's just got that know-how, but you just feel he's one of those players you have to keep him involved in the game, and you have to keep him on the ball. And also we've had well, this one I think is just reflecting on the lack of highlights in the first 45 minutes, saying I'm listening to the commentary, but wasn't too many.
It was hard work.
opportunities.
No numbers on the backs of the Gillingham players, and not many chances at either end. But let's hear from Brian with his hopes and expectations for the next season.
Yeah, Brian says he hopes that we end in the top half of the table and avoid any significant injuries to the players. And I think that's always the same for any club, really, isn't it? You want to make sure you're fit and ready to go when the season comes. Just the one injury for the O's in pre-season, as it stands, which is Louis Dennis, and we understand he should be back within 10 days. We wish him a speedy recovery. We saw him earlier on the 5th floor. He looked to be walking okay, which is a good sign. So hopefully it was just a slight tweak and nothing too serious, which was a shame for him because he was looking bright, wasn't he? We saw him in the first couple of games, and again he had a period last season where he was in and out to the team, but he'll be looking for a bit of consistency and a good run of games, and I'm sure he'll get them.
And what's Les hoping for in terms of the new campaign?
Well, Les is, as you open that up for us, Dave, it's a campaign from Les's perspective where, again, he says, I think it's going to be a difficult season. He says, as it stands, he suspects Orient might be around mid-table. He says, still hoping that the O's can bring in a replacement for Marvin Ekpiteta, who, of course, has moved on to Blackpool. Obviously, Jamie Turley had a tough year with injuries last season, and Josh Coulson, he says, has also been another player in and out the team. So he's asking the question: would the board be happy for finishing mid-table? It was interesting. I don't know if you did. I think you did, Dave. You watched the Q&A, and I think we might even hear from one of the board members. We heard from Nigel Travis earlier, who was, of course, promoting the streaming, and we'll remind everyone of that again, how you can look to acquire the match pass, and I'll just suggest you log on to the Leyton Orient website, which will give you full details. But we've got another text coming through here. This one, well, it's Fouled Stuntman is the Twitter name. He says, I think we need to add a centre half to the squad, but having kept a settled squad, we could be an outside shot for the playoffs. That's the prediction from Fouled Stuntman. It is interesting. I say we've read out half a dozen there, and three or four have alluded to the centre back position. I noted Martin Ling commented, didn't he, on the Q&A to say that the window, of course, is open till the end of October and are going to be patient at the moment, but they have got that option if they want to bring someone in on loan, perhaps. That could be the preferred option, particularly given the financial constraints at the moment for all clubs. But Orient are no different, and to go out and splash cash, I should imagine he's not going to be sort of top of the list at this time. So the loan option could be the preferred one.
There's two big factors next season which we've never had before. The first one is COVID, and the second one is the salary cap. Now, I don't know if you listen to the Price of Football podcast, but I would definitely recommend it. And they were saying that the likes, certainly in League One, of Sunderland and Ipswich and Portsmouth, they've got these potentially very large support backing, but they've got that salary cap, and I suppose the same could be said in League Two with the likes of Salford and the backing that they have, and the potential of Bolton and Bradford City.
Yeah, I mean the salary cap is a whole conversation. You could probably talk for hours about it, but obviously the rules have been set now from the EFL as to how that salary cap will work. And I think, again, going back to the Q&A, which was interesting with the board of directors, I think it was Martin Ling who commented that players really, I mean, obviously the incentive for them is if you want to retain or improve your wages, it's got to come from success on the pitch, because of course if Orient are successful and they are able to move up a division, then the salary cap increases. I think for me, looking from perhaps a neutral perspective, what I think is going to be interesting is how they regulate that salary cap, because ultimately we've seen it before, and even now you see it in other sports, rugby league to name one. The salary cap's implemented, but teams can fall foul of it, and it'll be interesting to see how the EFL and the authorities are planning on regulating it. So that's something which perhaps, as I say, I'm not privy to, and perhaps our owners will shed some light on in future podcasts. But it's interesting. Ultimately, it's there for a reason, and that's to keep sustainability. At the moment, the vast majority of clubs are losing money, and we already saw last season the fact Bury lost their place in the league, and there's been a fair number of clubs who've run close to that risk of losing not only their league status, but losing the club completely. So for the sake of football, it'll be interesting to see how that salary cap does improve the financial shape and position of clubs in years to come.
Well, COVID's going to have a big factor on that as well. Let's hear from David Blundell before we talk about the impact of COVID on League Two in particular.
Yep, he says, he listened to the commentary in the first half, he says his hopes for the season is to start with a 6-game unbeaten run. It's an interesting point. I think most teams, when you look at who's successful at the end of campaigns, most of them, particularly the teams that are in the automatic, they start the season well, and if you start well, that breeds confidence. And even from an Orient perspective, when you look at the National League title winning season, you look at the 05-06 promotion winning campaign, Orient got off to a really good start, and I think that is important. I don't think it's the be all and end all, but certainly if you're looking for automatic promotion, a positive start is required. 46 games, you have to play 46 games, you play everyone twice, but if you can get that confidence building early on, then it will certainly be a big boost to everyone following the club.
Been such a strange time, isn't it, since lockdown and the suspension of the last season in mid-March. Since then, Leyton Orient have worked very hard indeed off the field, preparing for next campaign, not least in terms of the streaming service. It is impressive just how much effort and energy has gone behind that one. But you know, that's because there won't be supporters in the grounds, and that financially is going to have a huge impact on clubs that possibly haven't gone as far as Leyton Orient have with the streaming.
Yeah, and you go back to the message we heard from the O's chairman earlier, Nigel Travis. I mean, he used the word critical, and when you look at that, I think it's quite obvious to see the only income stream outside season ticket sales is going to be through the stream until supporters are allowed back, and even when supporters are permitted back into the stadiums, it's going to be on a reduced number. We're not going to see a full house here. That's a likely scenario.
Yes.
So you have to be prepared, and Orient are trying to do their very best in terms of making sure that the supporters not only just having the stream, but making sure it's a good product for them as well, because it's difficult enough for supporters who are used to coming down here and cheering the O's on. If the stream is the next best thing, Orient are working on not just to provide a service, but making sure it's as best as it possibly can be.
And there are so many additional costs related to COVID. I'm not too sure if, on these overnight stays, whether or not players will be allowed to share rooms. We know that the coaching staff have to travel separately from the team, and we know again today that the away team is training changing in a completely different area to the home team.
Yeah, and you mentioned there about the overnight stays. My understanding is that Orient are potentially going to be changing their strategy on that this season. There will be less overnight trips. That's what I understand. And again, it's the count of the cost, isn't it? Because Orient will be no different. There'll be lots of clubs who will be trying to cut costs wherever possible. And if that means that perhaps players may have to travel on the day of games, then so be it. But as I say, I wouldn't like to use that as an excuse for Orient. That'll be the same across the Football League. Social
distancing in terms of the press box is going to be difficult as well. As only one of us was allowed at Northampton last week, and I drew the short straw and got the opportunity to go, and it is a privilege to watch the O's at the moment. There is no doubt about that, not complaining. It was interesting to see how many arrows that Northampton have put around the place, and then stewards telling you off because you were following the arrows, but that's by the by. I also did a game at West Bromwich Albion towards the end of last season. In fact, it was their last game of the season, and that was interesting, Matt, because you had this perspex. They talk about bubbles. This really did look like a bubble, and everybody had their own entrance to their own specific part of the press box, and you were meant to have done the interviews via Zoom with the managers, but I'd helped out the Queen's Park Rangers media team, because we had all those times in non-league, and I have 3 bags of stuff now, don't I? And it was interesting. I was the only person that was really ready for social distancing, because I had this enormous cable, which you often needed in the National League, didn't you? And Queen's Park Rangers wouldn't have been able to have done their stream if they hadn't been able to use my enormous ISDN cable, which meant that I was able to interview the managers sort of face to face afterwards.
Yeah, it's remarkable. I mean, not surprised at that tale, Dave, because you've got more equipment than NASA, I think, to be honest with you. you. But it's yeah. I mean, it is a change. I mean, even ourselves. I mean, yeah, it's a privilege to be here, but a notable change. You come to the ground, you have your temperature taken, and I think that's absolutely right, because at the end of the day, the club, I'm sure, are guided by health and safety regulations, but we want to try and stop this. And at the end of the day, I think you need to make sure that you are implementing such changes to help ensure games are on. What I fear, Dave, is that I think there will be interruption through the season.
Yes.
I think it's inevitable. I cannot see a situation where the season runs smoothly in terms of fixtures. There will be clusters. There will be certain outbreaks. We've seen that in other sports. So even now, again, you go back to various things. I mean, there's been cricket, there's been rugby, and you've seen breaks. And again, it's going to be really, really difficult. It's a huge headache for everyone.
Len is listening in Leyton, and he's got an opportunity to share his hopes and thoughts for the next season on 07748 774 301.
Yep, he says, I think we will get to or on the edge of the playoff places. He said a settled squad is important, and that will be our main asset to be successful. That was Len in Leyton, another one who feels the O's are likely to hit the playoff mark, maybe the edge of it. But yeah, I think the club have been relatively diplomatic in their sort of predictions when you listen to the board, and I think part of that is driven by the fact there is a lot of unknown about the competition in the league.
I just hope that we still have the 92 at the end of the season. Interesting, I don't know if you've seen the releases recently of Bury FC as well as AFC Bury who've started. They played their first match recently with a big following for them, but you know, Charlton are in dire straits, and you can only imagine the financial impact on having all these expenses and very, very little income coming through.
Yeah, I mean, again, as I say, similar to the salary cap, it's a conversation that you could have for hours on end. But ultimately, as I say, I mean, my personal view is that you look at the EFL and you look at the sort of the director, the ownership, the tests that they have to take, and it feels like unless you've been a confirmed criminal or bankrupt in your life, then you are entitled to run a football club. And at the end of the day, these are limited companies, Dave, so they abide by UK company law. The EFL is an organisation of which the Football League set themselves up. So again, it'll be interesting to see how that all pans out over the coming weeks, months and years ahead, and whether there'll be any structural changes.
Players out for the start of the second half. It's Gillingham that kick off the second 45, and it's Leyton Orient in the braces, attacking the goal away to our right, the Tommy Johnson stand, and the Gills without numbers. Have they made any changes at the break? We've been told they haven't, so we can go through the Gillingham lineup, Matt.
Yeah, we can. It's as they were, which means it's Jack Bonham in goal. It's a back five, which consists of Ryan Jackson at right back. It's Conor Ogilvie, the left wing back. The three centre halves are Tucker, Medley, McKenzie. In the midfield, it's McDonald on the right, Willock in the middle, with O'Keefe on the left. The front two being Oliver and Graham. And for the O's, they've made one change, which I can see, which is Lee Angol. He has come on for Connor Wilkinson by the looks of things. I think it is just the one change for the O's. Indeed, it is.
So Gillingham coming forward with Ogilvie wide on the left-hand side, being pursued by Maguire-Drew, and the cross goes towards the assistant referee on the far side, and that's going to be a throw to Leyton Orient.
It is. We'll give you the full O's lineup. Start with Lawrence Vigouroux in goal. It's a back four line, I should say, with James Brophy at left back, Dan Happy and Jamie Turley, the two centre halves. Sam Ling is at right back. Then it's a three-man midfield of Josh Wright, Cisse and Joby McAnuff. Looks as though Cisse's playing the holding role, with McAnuff and Wright given the licence to run on. And then it's a three-man attack for the O's, with Jordan Maguire-Drew down the right, Danny Johnson down the middle, and Lee Angol on the left. A shirtless Lee Angol. I think he's just realised,
he's
actually,
taken his vest off, hasn't he?
We were complaining about it being cold. I think Lee Angol's too hot because he's taken his how would you describe it, Dave? The underlayer, I think it's called, isn't it? He's
in the old days, it was a vest when I was a little lad. But there you go. And we've got a delay here because of a clash of heads, and I think Dan Johnson came off the worst.
Yeah, I say nothing untoward. I think it was Tucker who leant into Danny Johnson there. Johnson with his back to goal, and Tucker just followed through, clash of heads there, but it looks as though he's okay, got to his feet, which is a good sign.
So it's going to be I assume a drop ball, or is it a free kick? It's a free kick that has been given Leyton Orient's way, and Dan Happy is the man who's going to take this one. And I think Dan Johnson's going to be absolutely fine. The doctor's all PPE'd. And I don't think it's going to be required.
No, which is good news. And say Danny Johnson just gives a thumbs up over to the touchline. He looks as though he's fine to carry on. And Leanne Gold chasing down a lost call. So he
did ever so well. He kept it in play with the back heel. Dan Johnson just too far away to get on the end of it for the O's. And Dan Happy's shirt was being pulled as James Brophy puts the ball in touch. It is a physical game out there, isn't it? And on the halfway line, it's a throw to Leyton Orient.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to see Leanne Gold working hard already. So they've only been playing a couple of minutes into the second half. It still feels quite flat out there, doesn't it?
It is, on a chilly afternoon in E10. And it does, you know, particularly with the lack of crowd, it does feel like a training exercise at the moment, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think the game...
Another player taking off his vest. That is an undergarment. That's not a vest, is it? It's Jackson that's taking Ryan Jackson. It's he's taken everything off now. He's, you know, that sort of undergarment they have that tells them how many steps they've taken. He's put that back on. You'd be able to do this in a league game, would you? Have you ever seen the second half that started with so many players taking off their vests on a chilly afternoon?
Yeah, I can understand Leanne Gold because he's a substitute who's just come on and
Ryan Jackson is trying to tackle Leanne Gold. It looks as if he's wearing a bikini because he hasn't adjusted his shirt yet. He got caught under that sort of strapping that they have for the GPS. As out wide on the far side is Leanne Gold. He pulls it back to Josh White. Josh White stops and checks. Plays a short ball to Leanne Gold, back to goal on the edge of the penalty. It goes down. Gets up again, still with Leanne Gold, like a Duracell bunny over there, and that's going to be a free kick finally to Leyton Orient.
Yeah, I must admit, I haven't heard the sports vest referred to as a bikini before, Dave, but you summarised that well. Leanne Gold, as I say, wins a free kick for the O's in a very decent position here. Josh Wright looks as though he's going to take this wide on the left-hand side for the O's, in front of the east stand. McAnuff looks interested as well.
Joby McAnuff and Josh White over the ball. Leanne Gold is just behind the two-man wall. And Josh White is in position as Joby McAnuff with the right foot plays the ball towards the edge of the 6-yard box. He's trying to find Dan Happy. It's an important touch by Medley, and it's put away for a throw to the O's by Mackenzie. And it's going to be a long one from Sam Ling, I think.
Yep, Sam Ling trying to dry the ball. So had a bit of rain yesterday, didn't we? There's a bit of zip on the surface, but Sam Ling making sure it's absolutely dry before he launches this one in.
And it is a long throw. It's looking for Cisse. Backward header from Cisse. Didn't quite work. The clearance comes out to Joby McAnuff. Left foot strike from McAnuff. Just wide of the target. Best effort we've had in the game.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad strike at all, was it? Joby McAnuff on the left foot. Ball coming across his body. He shifted his weight well and, as I say, put the laces through it. So it wasn't far away. Jack Bonham at full stretch, went wide of the goal. He was attacking the Tommy Johnson stand in the second half.
3 efforts to note from the O's, they're all from Joby McAnuff.
Yeah, they've all been long distance efforts, haven't they? Which is quite interesting. It shows that's the only real route the O's have found thus far in terms of creativity. Ross Imbleton, I'm sure, will be aware of that, probably looking for a little bit more in this second half from the O's.
The ball has been headed into touch, and that's going to be a throw to the O's, and it's in line with the Gillingham penalty area.
Yes, but we might see another long one from Sam Ling. He gets instruction from Dean Brill down there on the technical area.
It's a short throw from Sam Ling. Gets a return ball from Josh White. Back again to Josh White, who finds Sam Ling on the right-hand side. Josh White making the overlapping one. Gets in the cross. Awkward one gathered at the near post by Jack Bonham.
Yeah, just took a deflection off Graham, didn't it? But it was a good loud call from Jack Bonham, and so he's distributed the ball well early to Jackson there as Gillingham try and build an attack, but Orient get players back. Again, Orient look very well organised at the moment.
So it's Gillingham that have possession on this left-hand side. The ball is played forward by Medley. Comes out to Jamie Turley. Turley trying to release Dan Johnson. And it's now with James Brophy. Brophy finds Lee Angol. Angol has got support from Joby McAnuff. Got a push from behind then.
Yeah, again, Lee Angol just inviting the foul, isn't he? Just backing into the Gillingham defender. And again, he's done well there. Wins a free kick for the O's just inside Gillingham's half, and he's going to take the free kick himself. Lee Angol, quick to get things moving again, just rolls the ball back to Cisse, just wants that flow of play moving again.
Cisse is outside the he's laid it back to Lawrence Vigouroux, who's outside the penalty area. We hear from David Blundell again.
Yes, we do.
But we'll catch up with David in a moment. We'll stay with the action wide on the left-hand side. It's with Lee Angol, who's turned, and he's turned into trouble. It was a tackle from McKenzie and a clearance from Medley, and a header met on the halfway line by Jamie Turley, looking for Joby McAnuff, who's covered as many yards during this game as any of the younger players out there. Let's hear from David.
Yeah, Dave Blundell asking where Miles Judd is this afternoon. He said he looks really sharp in the previous friendlies today.
There's not many substitutes, are there?
No, they're not. And I think, again, when you look at both benches, it's less today with 7 on the O's bench and 7 on the Gill. So perhaps it was agreed beforehand, the limitations on the substitutes.
Brophy moving forward towards the edge of the penalty area. I also think it's about the number of minutes that you're trying to get players, and there'll be a big bearing on what happened last Saturday at Northampton. I think the way in which they've approached both the Gillingham and Northampton games are very different to the under-23s, because Northampton, most of the players completed the 90 minutes, and I think Miles Judd was the right back on that occasion. And I think this afternoon this is a 90-minute job, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. And Will Sotirio, another one to miss out on the squad today. We saw him earlier on in his tracksuit, but he misses out from the squad this afternoon.
It's wide on the left flank with Graham. It's a cross which is gathered well by Vigouroux. Looks so comfortable with those crosses, doesn't he? Just plucked it off the top of Oliver's head.
Looks very calm, doesn't he,
Yeah.
Lawrence Vigouroux? As you say, that was a decent delivery, a decent cross, but Vigouroux there, loud call, came collected, catch the ball with both hands, and then again his kick out, trying to get Orient on the counter attack. Very good goalkeeping.
Martin Strong asking about Steve Evans and his trousers. Of course, that's a reference to when he was manager at Rotherham. Something I'm trying to forget, Martin, to be perfectly honest. But he's looking very smart in his sort of like an overcoat today, isn't it? It just shows you how chilly it is.
Yeah, it is. Temperature, as you said, in the build-up to this one, definitely dropped in the last week or so. Good 10 degrees cooler than it was from 10 days ago, and I'm sure the players are probably enjoying that more. The fact that it's easier for them in this game.
So it is a free kick to Gillingham, and a ball that's drilled into the Leyton Orient penalty area. A Gilveats header comes out to Joby McAnuff, and comes back again towards the edge of the Leyton Orient penalty area. Good clearance by Sam Ling, looking for Dan Johnson, and it's Jordan Maguire-Drew on the right-hand side, and it'll be disappointed with that attempted ball towards Josh White. It went straight into the arms of Jack Bonham.
Yeah, he's been pretty quiet, hasn't he, this afternoon, Maguire-Drew, thus far. So in those positions, that's where you want him, on the ball in the final third.
I think it's a big season for him, and he could have a big impact on this Leyton Orient side. When he is good, he is very, very good. Of course, Jordan Maguire-Drew, he's a bag of tricks.
He's creative,
got
isn't
two
he?
great feet. He's good from set pieces, and when he's got a bit of pace, he's also got a real adventure.
Yeah, I think
ambition.
He's definitely one of the O's creative players out there, as you say. I think you're right, Dave, in terms of he will be key.
It is amazing the difference a haircut can make, though. It's with Jordan Maguire-Drew, who hasn't got the gel in the hair, and it's cleared away out on this near side, and he does look very different, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. There's Sam Ling collects the ball. Haven't got the luxury of the youth team acting as ball boys this afternoon, have they? So again, perhaps
now that could be to do with the bubble as well. I know that Northampton were taking the sanitation of the balls incredibly seriously last week as Sam Ling delivers this ball into the penalty area. All the sanitised balls were on little cones, and once they went off, they had to be wiped and then put on the cone, and only the balls that were on the cones could be used.
Yeah, it's a good point as Gillingham look to prepare John Akinde by the looks of it. I think Jacob Mellis might also be coming on. We'll wait and see, but Akinde for sure is definitely getting stripped and ready down there. Looks as though Steve Evans is going to make at least 2, potentially 3 substitutions here.
Mellis is going to come on, and also coming on now is Hanlon and Akinde.
Yeah, so Akinde has come on for Oliver. That's the first substitution. I think Mellis is going to be the second one, potentially, Dave.
And I think, is MacDonald coming on? MacDonald's come off. And Graham has also come off. Thank you very much.
And coming on Mellis, so I've got Mellis and Akinde. I think, did we get the third Gillingham substitution? I can find out if we need to, Dave.
Akinde is on, Mellis is on, and the other substitutes that have come on are just the 2 substitutes that have come on. Akinde, 3, Mellis and Akinde, and the final one is Hanlon, who has yet to sign a contract as the shot is blocked for Gillingham. He's been offered a deal. He has featured in pre-season games, but I don't think he started any of the 4 that Gillingham have played, and it's a shot that goes wide of the target,
Mellis,
and I think that was Mellis.
It was, yep. Again, which just seems to have given him a sharp lift there, Gillingham, doesn't it? Immediately the 3 substitutes come on.
Well, they are attacking substitutes, aren't they? And certainly Hanlon will want to impress, if not Steve Evans. Yeah. Certainly, I know that you know, he feels as if he's going to get some offers. He's going to have to make a decision soon, isn't he?
Yeah, you'd think so. It just shows how important pre-season can be for these players at this stage of the season, because a lot of teams will now be looking to settle ahead of the campaign, which starts next week. But he's made like-for-like substitutions there, Steve Evans. No change to the formation. Mellis will play in the middle instead of MacDonald, and then it's the front 2 that have changed. Graham and Oliver have come off. Akinde and Hanlon, the 2 men. Good
work by Turley, and he finds Joby McAnuff. On the edge of the centre circle is Josh Wright. Cisse gives the ball away to Gilvey, and it's Gillingham that have possession on the edge of the Leyton Orient penalty area. Gilvey on the left-hand side with time to get in across. It's cleared away by Dan Happy. The bounce towards Leanne Goal, who turns, but he turns into trouble, and he's given away the free kick. It was a challenge on Stuart O'Keefe, and the free kick has been quickly taken. Akinde on the far side. Dan Happy has given away the corner. Yeah. Gillingham's first of the second half, 3rd of the game.
Yeah, I'm not sure Dan Happy agreed with that decision. I think he felt it was Akinde who got the last touch, as they both tried to keep the ball from going out to play on that far side, but it's a corner which has been given to Gillingham.
It is. Who have we got in the box, Matt?
Well, Akinde's in there for sure. Hanlon is in amongst them as well. Looks as though Gilvey is parked up the back with Tucker and Medley to make the late runs.
So it's a corner kick. It's a low one on the deck. I'm not sure if that was intended, and it's away by Cisse. It's Bonham out of the penalty area for Gillingham. It's in the centre of the defence. The ball goes out to the right-hand side in Jackson. Jackson pulls it back to the goalkeeper, Jack Bonham. Bonham plays it to Medley, and on the left-hand side now for Gillingham. It looks as if they've changed formation. I know Gilvey's playing in a more forward position on the left-hand side, isn't it? Who's come over to the left flank?
Well, I think Gilvey, who's closing this ball down now, as Sam Ling does very well to head the ball back. I think the formation has stayed the same. It's definitely the 5 at the back with Jackson and Gilvey, the wing backs.
More, isn't he?
I think Mellis is playing in a more attacking role, Dave, whereas MacDonald had slotted in. So Mellis is almost playing in behind Akinde and Hanlon. So it's got a little bit more attacking intent about it from that perspective, as Mellis tries to bring the ball under control.
Out on the left-hand side is Leanne Goal, and that's gone away for a throw to Gillingham.
Yeah,
still goalless.
Yeah,
16 minutes of the second half play.
Wasn't happy there, the O skipper. I think he wanted Angol to move that ball quicker. In the end, just taking one touch too many, and just feels at the moment that sort of typifies the game. It's got a bit of a slow pace about it. I say Gillingham from the off really have been quite happy playing long balls down the channels, or just failed to get that tempo going about it, hasn't it? It's felt that way.
It has. Dan Happy's header goes towards this near side. Turley tries to make the challenge on a Kindy, and it's Jackson that has possession now on the right-hand side. It's on the edge of the Leyton Orient penalty area, and an opportunity here for Medley to find Gilvey. Back to Medley, and he plays it into the Leyton Orient penalty area. And Gillingham putting some passes together, and it's out on the right-hand side, and finally it's Jordan Maguire-Drew who clears, looking for Dan Johnson. It's Gillingham coming forward with real purpose. Their substitutions have had an impact, haven't they? Yeah,
they have, without a doubt. They're now starting to control the ball more, particularly in midfield. They're trying to work it from right to left. Stuart O'Keefe getting on the ball as well, trying to create, but this is a bit more like it from Gillingham.
Steve Evans is far more animated now on the edge of the technical area, barking out the instructions. So too is the former Leyton Orient midfielder Paul Rayner. It's Gillingham that are coming forward with Jackson wide on the right-hand side. Cross took a deflection and away for Gillingham's second corner of the second half, fourth of the game, of course.
Yeah, credit to James Brophy, stuck to his man, made sure the cross didn't come in. But as I say, for all the fact that the substitutes have made an impact for Gillingham, you have to give credit to the O's who continue to look organised still.
Who's taking this corner, Matt?
This looks as though it's Mellis on the far side, the substitute.
No numbers on the Gillingham shirts, of course, hence my confusion. It doesn't take a lot to confuse me, as you know. It's Cisse on the edge of the Leyton Orient penalty area, finds Leanne Goal in a central position, moving forward towards the halfway line. He crosses the halfway line, and to his left is Jordan Maguire-Drew. It's with Maguire-Drew, and he plays it back to James Brophy. Brophy inside to Cisse on the edge of the technical area, and Cisse switches it out to the right, and Sam Ling just couldn't control it on his thigh. Josh White losing out is Gilvey. Plays the ball into a central position, and it's Gillingham that have it now with O'Keefe.
Yeah, won it back well there, Gillingham. Again, got men back, and
Goal's given away the free kick. He was trying to play the ball.
Yeah, you could hear Matt Harold's alongside us up here on the gantry, watching the game from above, and you could hear him bark out speed when Leanne Goal was in possession, because Orient had runners to the left and the right, but there just didn't seem to be enough pace about the counter-attack, and in the end Gillingham got men back, defended the situation, and as I say, they've won a free kick here just inside their own half.
It's Gillingham who are really going to test this Leyton Orient defence in this second half, aren't they? They're beginning to dominate in terms of possession.
Yeah, definitely having more of the ball at the moment. They're looking more comfortable in it. In terms of creativity, they'll be looking for Mellis to do that, but they're playing with a lot more width as well, where Gilvey and Jackson, the wing-backs, are getting forward more. They're getting into Orient's half more. So this is a defensive test for the O's.
McKenzie looks for Gilvey wide on the left-hand side, and Gillingham have possession inside the Leyton Orient penalty area, and an opportunity here, and that shot.
The shot was from Mellis, but it should have gone wide to Jackson because he was unmarked on the left-hand side. Gillingham just overplaying the ball there, but I'd say this is a real test at the moment for the O's, particularly that back four of Brophy, Happy, Turley and Ling, because as you say, Gillingham are commanding the ball, or at the moment doing a lot of defending in their own half.
Mellis is playing behind the front two, isn't he?
Yeah, it looks as though he's got a through role, hasn't he, just behind Akindi and Hanlon, but he's getting on the ball, he's making an impact here, the former Mansfield man.
Yes, he's a good signing, I think. And somebody that Rayner and Evans will know all about.
He started at Sheffield United as well, did Jacob Mellis, a talented player. Be interesting to see how he gets on at Gillingham this season.
Leanne Goal has picked up a loose ball, and he's moving towards the Gillingham penalty area. He's in the box now. He gets towards the bar and gets in a low cross, looks for Dan Johnson. It will break to Maguire-Drew. His cross took a deflection and took the sting out of it. Cisse couldn't get the shot away, but it's Brophy who picks up the pieces on the left-hand side. Brophy finds Josh White. Josh White finds Lee Angol. Angol in turn to Jordan Maguire-Drew in the penalty area. Maguire-Drew, he's got it on his right foot, and the shot goes away for Leyton Orient's first corner of the second half, third of the game. It's been a while.
He does it ever so well, doesn't he, Jordan Maguire-Drew? Just dropped the shoulder to take the ball round to Gilvey. Opened up, he tried to sneak the ball in at the near post, but it was a good block in the end. But that was good from Jordan Maguire-Drew.
So it's Jamie Turley and Dan Happy who are outside the 6-yard box on the far side. Jordan Maguire-Drew in front of the Tommy Johnson stand to take this corner kick, and with the left foot the ball is played towards Dan Happy, completely unmarked, and it's a firm header that comes out to Joby McAnuff, whose shot's blocked at point blank range, and it's spinning towards Sam Ling, whose cross is intercepted. It wasn't much of a cross, was it? It was a real difficult spinning ball as James Brophy chases back, and it's a good tackle by Joby McAnuff on a Kindi. Yeah,
good covering there from Joby McAnuff, but interesting that corner. Been a while since we've seen one for the O's, but again went to the back post. We've said that quite often this pre-season, that Orient tend at the moment to, and say, take these set pieces towards the back post. They've certainly got aerial presence with Turley and Happy. On that occasion it was Happy who tried to head the ball back across goal.
It's Nout on the left-hand side with Dan Johnson. Johnson makes his way into the Gillingham penalty area. Still with Dan Johnson. Look at the space here for Jordan Maguire-Drew, and his shot goes wide.
Should have scored. Say it was a really good opportunity for him. And it was Danny Johnson with the powerful run inside the 18-yard box. He got the rub of the green because the ball cannoned back off the defender into the path of Maguire-Drew, who had a lot of space in front of him, and he struck the ball with the left foot. Missed the target, really should have scored, he'll know that.
Opened up the Gillingham defence, haven't said that very often this afternoon.
Yeah, it was a tad fortune as well the way it came about, because as I say, Johnson made the run, good intent from him, but so the ball deflected back off a Gillingham player right into the path of Maguire-Drew, who with the left foot, he'll know himself down there. I think you can almost sort of read his body language. He knows he should have scored to put the O's ahead.
This is more of a sort of coaching exercise than a drinks break, because it's a chilly old afternoon. They don't really need a break, a drink, that's for sure. Les saying that Leyton Orient need a little bit more cutting edge up front. They're beginning this game's opening up a little bit now, isn't it, Matt?
Yeah, it's a much better second half, and you can say there's been more opportunities, albeit a few half opportunities, but that was the best we've seen so far. And again, it came from a positive run from Danny Johnson. Played the ball into the penalty area. It came back off the Gillingham defender, straight to Jordan Maguire-Drew, who was about 5 yards to the right of the penalty spot, who hit it first time with the left foot. It went past the Jack Bonham's outstretched fingers, but unfortunately not into the net. Went to the wide of it, and it stays at 0-0.
And it's Ross Embleton that's using this opportunity to just sort of fine-tune. Joby McAnuff was quite vocal earlier before the intervention there from the head coach.
Yeah, you'd expect him to be. He's the Orient captain and experienced campaigner. He'll be demanding more from his teammates, but as I say, good test this one.
It is.
Despite the scoreline suggesting it's not been a thriller, I think from an expectation point of view, Ross Embleton will be happy. It's been a different type of game.
And I think there's going to be another change for Gillingham, and coming on now is Henry Woods. He's 20 years of age, and he started as a youngster with Gillingham, and he's going to replace Mackenzie. Thank you.
Yeah, Steve Evans, he's definitely testing his squad and options now, isn't he? You're right, he's getting ready to come on. He's Woods, just tightening the laces and the tape around his socks, but he will be coming on imminently.
Should we just sort of recap on this Gillingham lineup if we can? It's definitely Bonham in goal. Jackson still at right back. Yeah. We've got Tucker, Medley and Woods now, isn't it? With a Garvey wide on, Gilvey wide on the left.
I think Gilvey may have moved inside now to centre half, so they may be changing the formation to 4 at the back now, with a Gilvey going in at centre half. And then, as you say, the 3 players that came on.
So is it Medley that's gone off? Have they swapped? Medley's gone to left back.
Yeah.
So it is a back 4. You're quite right, sir.
Yeah, you could see Gilvey moved into the centre, but again, Cisse and Mellis competing for a header there.
Yeah,
a few words exchanged.
Nothing friendly about that exchange, was there?
No, absolutely. Of course.
They're still having the words.
Yeah, Mellis has decided to walk away, which is probably for the best. But yeah, it's been some changes now, hasn't there? I would say 4 substitutions for the Gills. Akinde, Hanlon have come on, Woods has come on, Mellis has come on. And as I say, enjoying this one.
It is a free kick to Gillingham. It's a much better second half than it was first, as the ball is flicked on, and it's a good clearance from Dan Happy. Didn't have a lot of time or space, but it's Gillingham that pick up the second ball, as they have done. Kinde has gone on to the right, and Jackson, who's a cross-come shot, gathered at the near post by Lawrence Bigaroo, and on 07748 774 301 we say hello again to Len, listening in Leyton.
Yeah, he says this game has a more feel like the type of games we should expect to see this season. A lot of long ball play, a lot of physical presence shown by the opposition, but he said the good news is the defence is standing up well.
Yes, it's the only thing I think is different is the tempo. I think this is a particularly slow tempo, this one, isn't it? Yeah,
and without a doubt, particularly to what we saw on Wednesday night, the first 45 minutes, it was like lightning, wasn't it? Those West Ham under-23s really did impress.
Gone from one extreme to the other.
As Leanne Gull just shows there, I mean, that pretty typifies the game. Leanne Gull having a wrestling match with Ryan Jackson out on the far side, but I think that's what you see in League Two football. It's often untidy, scrappy, ugly at times, but you have to be prepared for those battles because they will come. But so far from what we've seen from Orient in this game, I think they've done their job well.
29 minutes gone of the second half, and it's still goalless.
It is a game of few chances. So the best one fell to Jordan Maguire-Drew shortly before the second drinks break, but a couple of distanced efforts from Joby McAnuff, but not seen too much for either team really.
No, Jordan Maguire-Drew had that opening, didn't he? And Gillingham have only had sort of one real chance of note, but they're coming forward now with real intent on the edge of the Leyton Orient penalty area. And it's Medley. He's got Gilvey wide on the left-hand side. Ball comes through to Wilcock. And now it's Mellis. Mellis, the ball goes out to Jackson on the right-hand side. He's got time and space to move towards the Leyton Orient penalty. Takes on James Brophy, plays it to Mellis, and Mellis in turn offers it to Wilcock, whose shot is blocked at point-blank range. But Gillingham picking up the second ball, and that'll be concern for Ross Embleton.
Yeah, just commanding possession at the moment, aren't they?
Mellis to Wilcock, and it's out on the right, and Jackson's cross is a measured one and a good one. It goes across the face of the Leyton Orient goal, and it's Sam Ling who pulls it away from danger, and well played by Josh Wright inside the centre 6-yard box.
Yeah, Josh Wright.
Here's Joby McAnuff moving forward with intent for Leyton Orient, and he finds Dan Johnson inside the penalty area. Dan Johnson, it's on his left foot, shot takes a deflection, and it's deflected away for Leyton Orient's 4th corner of the game. Yeah,
go back to the Gillingham attack. You have to give credit for Josh Wright there. He helped out Sam Ling because he realised Sam Ling was under pressure at the back post, and when that ball was fizzed across by Ryan Jackson, Akinde was the man to get across the near post, took Dan Happy with him, just got a faint touch to on the ball to see it go across the face of goal, and at the back post Hanlon was racing in. Wright saw the danger and helped Sam Ling clear the ball, or it have broke from it, and they've got a corner. They have. Jordan Maguire-Drew is the man who's going to take this one in front of the Tommy Johnson stand at the south end of the ground, and there are 4 braces inside the 6-yard box to aim for at the far post, punched away by the goalkeeper Bonham, and it's Joby McAnuff who's first there on the left-hand side, right foot cross into the penalty area, and Gillingham have an opportunity to break. They do. He hasn't got much support, Hanlon. He's looking for it now as Gillingham move forward, but initially when he was in possession of the ball you felt that there was an opportunity. There was a lot of space in front of him, but he held the ball up to bring his teammates into the game. Started his career at the Valley with Charlton Athletic. He moved to Priestfield Stadium in 2018 and yet to commit his future to the Gills, and there's a mistimed tackle from Joby McAnuff. Yeah, perhaps we shouldn't be surprised. This game is a tight one. 74 times the O's have faced Gillingham, and the O's have won 28 of those, 20 draws, and Gillingham have won 26. So the O's have just shaded it in terms of head-to-head in their history. 74 games, probably most memorable for me would be that Matt Lockwood 11-minute hat-trick back in 2006.
That was fantastic, wasn't it? It really was magnificent. Out on the right-hand side is Jackson. Jackson takes on James Brophy, goes on the outside of James Brophy, gets in the cross and just right, spins it up into the air, comes off the roof of the north stand, and Gillingham have another corner.
Yeah, they do. Again, starting to open in spaces this game, isn't it, in terms of options, particularly for Gillingham.
Mellis is going to take this corner kick, isn't he?
He is, yeah, wide on that far side, but so they bring 4 men forward.
Medley's one of them, and it's Medley's header that goes out towards this near side, which is not what he intended. Leyton Orient have got 3 substitutes warming up at the moment, with 32 minutes of the second half played. And it's inside the centre circle for the Gills. And out on the right-hand side, it's Kindy, isn't it? It's taking on James Brophy. Jackson gets towards the byline, pulls it back towards the edge of the Leyton Orient box. Gillingham still keep possession in deep inside the Leyton Orient half. The O's have got 10 back behind the ball as Gillingham play these little neat passes. It's Mellis plays it with the outside of the right foot across the face of the Orient penalty area, and Gilvey finds Mellis, who nutmegs Jamie Turley, who recovers well to make the challenge inside the penalty area, and Jamie Turley puts it into touch.
Yeah,
he did well.
He did do well, because it was clever play from Mellis trying to create something, just let the ball run under his body. It was a clever dummy from Mellis. It went through the legs of Turley, but Turley didn't let him spin off and got back and made an important challenge, and even more vital clearance to divert the danger away.
Ogilvy can get distance on these throws, and he's played it short on this occasion. It comes out to O'Keefe, and he switches it to Jackson on the right-hand side. Gillingham just dominating on the ball at the moment, but they're not opening up their Leyton Orient defence. That could change now, as they have possession inside the Leyton Orient penalty area. And it's with Akinde, and Jamie Turley sticks to his task well, and the clearance doesn't find Dan Johnson. So Gillingham again picking up the loose ball. Mellis has made a real impact since coming on, finds O'Keefe, and O'Keefe plays it short to the right-hand side, and Jackson pulls it back again. It's Steve Evans, you can hear in the background, really barking out the instructions at the moment, urging more from his players. And they really are testing this Leyton Orient defence, which is well organised at the moment. As we move towards the last 10 minutes of the 90, with the deadlock still remaining. Ogilvy's got behind the defence, but it's Vigouroux aware of the situation and doing very well. Yeah,
good goalkeeping again from Lawrence Vigouroux, good awareness, saw the danger, the run from Ogilvy, who's now moved into left back. Gillingham changed their formation now, haven't they? It's a 4-man backline, 3 in the middle, with Mellis playing in behind Akinde and Hanlon. It's certainly created a bit more possession for Gillingham in the midfield.
It's Leon Gold that got caught on that occasion, and a little trip by Jordan Maguire-Drew. It's given Gillingham a free kick, which is swept out towards the far side, and Jackson has been a busy man in this match for Gillingham, and he has got support from Woods. As Gillingham keep possession inside the Leyton Orient half. It's in front of the old east stand with Jackson. Jackson's made the overlapping run. He's gone beyond Brophy. He's now taken on Joby McAnuff. Still with Ryan Jackson. Jackson's cross looks for Kinde. Mellis picks up the loose ball 10 yards out inside the Leyton Orient penalty area is Akinde, and the flag goes up. I thought that was a little late. I thought he was offside before then, which is why I hesitated, because I thought I was going to say he's offside.
Yeah, I think you're possibly right there, Dave. It did seem to come a tad late, but again, Orient, whilst not seeing as much of the ball in this second half, stood firm, continued to look organised, particularly at the back. McAnuff, Cisse and Wright in that midfield. As I say, doing a lot of work at the moment. Not seeing much of the ball, but trying to help out the back four where they can.
And goal. Felt that he got caught from behind then. There were two Gillingham players around him. It's Dan Happy who got muscled out of it on that occasion, and the free kick has been given.
Yeah, it made life...
Hanlon, wasn't it?
It was. Made life easy for the referee there to make that decision. Dan Happy knew that he was being chased down by Hanlon, but as soon as there was contact, Dan Happy went to ground, and the referee was in no two minds to blow the whistle. Means the O's can restart the game with a free kick, which will be taken by Lawrence Vigaroo.
It will. And you surprised that we haven't seen a substitution from the O's in the second half?
Possibly. We've got the game Bishop Stortford on Bank Holiday Monday. I wonder whether we may see the substitutes start on that. We understand it's going to be a mixed team with some of the youth team will be involved as well. I would be surprised if Ross Embleton was to take any risks on Monday, given that game and with Saturday in mind. So perhaps the substitutes are going to be given 45 minutes on Monday at Bishop Stortford, with, as I say, with a mix of the youth teams. Obviously the players like Brian Ifeanyi, who played the other night, maybe Anthony Papadopoulos will play as well.
And being non-league, I assume that supporters are allowed in, is that right?
I was understood that there was a cap on the maximum of tickets, but I think it was 300, Dave, so expect to see 298 Orient fans and maybe a couple of Bishop Stortford fans.
So book online, I think is probably the message then, eh?
Yeah, I think so, and I understand that again there's possibly protocols that will be put in place before the game.
Track and trace, I
Track and trace, that seems to be the fundamental ruling that you have to have at non-league if you are to attend football. I suggest Orient supporters who are looking to go, if they are, will be better to position themselves by looking at Bishop Stortford's information, Q&A before going to the ground. But yeah, I think there will be a restriction, and I suspect it's already been sold out.
I'm surprised that wasn't a tackle on a foul on Leanne Goal, but it wasn't given, and Gillingham have possession with Mellis on the left-hand side. Mellis threads it forward, and James Brophy comes across and intercepts well in a central position, and with the left foot, it's a wayward pass. Danny Johnson had set off a little earlier, and Jack Bonham unchallenged as we move towards the last 5 minutes of this one. Still deadlocked. Yeah,
it's still deadlocked, but we'll make sure they get that clean sheet. They've worked hard for it.
Brian's got a little bit more detail about Bishop Stortford.
Well, he seems to think the limit might be 600, but we'll wait and see.
It's Gillingham coming forward towards the Leyton Orient penalty area. Mellis has possession, and he gets in the cross, and it's headed back by Josh Wright, very coolly to Lawrence Vigaroo.
Will be. Yeah, I'd be surprised to see if Orient maximise the tickets. Bear in mind it's pre-season, but we'll wait and see. Be interesting, the last game before it all kicks off.
Leanne Goal on the right-hand side. It's been sort of bear hugged then. Again, the referee doesn't give the decision. If anything, the decision's gone against Leanne Goal. He can't believe it. I can't believe it. Can you believe it?
No, I think Ogilvie there may have conned the referee into that one. Leanne Goal, again, just trying to win the ball, and Ogilvie leapt into him, bounced off him, went to ground, and the flag went up. Seemed a strange decision from up here, but pre-season doesn't mean too much. But Leanne Goal doesn't have that view. He's still asking the referee why that was given against him.
The tackle by Joby McAnuff on the assistant referee remains the highlight of this goalless draw, doesn't it? Goalless at the moment, of course.
Getting a very few incidents, but could there be a late piece of action here?
You never know. Wide on the left-hand side, it's James Brophy crossing the halfway line, and he stops and he checks and he lays it back to Cisse. Cisse with the outside of the left boot to Brophy. Brophy finds Dan Happy. Back again to Brophy on the halfway line. Looks up, plays the ball inside to Jordan Maguire-Drew. In the centre circle is Cisse. Behind him is Turley, and Turley with a ball down the centre. And it's headed out by Headley towards this near side, and Samling lets it bounce into the arms of Steve Evans, who pats Samling on the back. And Samling will take the throw inside the Gillingham half, and it's sliced into touch, and it's another opportunity for Samling to deliver a throw forward. And he does, and he finds Leanne Goal. And it's now with Cisse. Cisse finds Ling. Ling to Angol, back again to Sam Ling. Cisse to the halfway line and Jamie Turley. Turley all the way back to goalkeeper Lance Vigor, who's not had a shot to save, has he?
He's had a very quiet afternoon, hasn't he? Again, just watching the game played out in front of him.
On the left-hand side, it's James Brophy. Brophy moving forward. A little bit of pace from James Brophy. Brophy goes on the outside of Jackson, getting towards the byline, goes to ground, gets up inside the penalty area, and in the end, it's gone away for a goal kick.
Yeah, I have to give credit to the fullback there.
Did well, didn't he?
He did. James Brophy running at him and trying to race him to the byline to get the ball back across, and a bit of respect shown there from both players, James Brophy and Ryan Jackson. Just touch elbows as if to say, yep, good work, respecting each other's skills and qualities there. But yeah, good to see James Brophy making that lung-busting run down the left-hand side.
Bonham with the goal kick, and it was a poor one, went straight to Steve Evans, which he won't want to do too often. It's going to be Sam Ling with the throw in front of the Gillingham boss. And Sam Ling looks for Lee Angol. That definitely was a foul by Lee Angol, and he just threw Ogilvie to the ground. And Ogilvie shakes his leg. I don't think he can quite believe what happened to him then. And it's Mellis, who's popped up in the centre of the Gillingham defence, who finds Jackson on the right-hand side. 90 seconds of the 90 minutes remain as Brophy wins the tackle. On the far side is Dan Happy. He's had a decent game, and it's a good ball, and it's forward to Dan Johnson, who chips the goalkeeper, and that's an excellent finish from Dan Johnson. Good move, without doubt the highlight of the game.
Yeah, it came from a Gillingham error, but take nothing away from Dan Johnson there. As I say, it was an excellent finish. The keeper raced out with the left foot. He chipped the ball over the top of Jack Bonham. The ball nestled in the bottom corner. Nice reward for him. We talked about his work ethic early on this afternoon. Perhaps hasn't been rewarded with the goals in pre-season, but he's got a couple now, and that one, I'm sure, will be a real delight for him, because it was an excellent finish, Dave.
I tell you what, the way he created space then, Dan Johnson.
Yeah, he makes smart runs, doesn't he? Very intelligent.
He's a bit of a ghost, isn't he? He's difficult to pick up. He's a proper poacher, and that was a cool finish.
Yeah, well, if you're marking him, he's very difficult because he's always moving. And all right, there was a mistake which came from the Gillingham defender, no doubt about that. It was Jack Tucker who won't look back on that moment with too much fondness. It was a real error from him. He missed the ball. But Danny Johnson still had to close down the space.
I give the credit to the striker rather than the blame to the defender on that occasion, because, as you say, Dan Johnson was just so difficult to mark on that occasion. You just wouldn't have known where he was.
Yeah, he should have cleared the ball, but Johnson still got a hell of a lot to do with the keeper racing out, and it was an excellent finish by him.
Goal! Says David Blundell, listening out, I would assume in sunny Spain, as the ball is drilled out towards this left-hand side for Gillingham. Ogilvie has it, and he's got support as the Gills play the ball inside the Leyton Orient penalty. It's Hanlon. Hanlon taking on Jamie Turley. Comes back to Mellis. Mellis finds Ogilvie, who's onside. Cross comes off the back of Josh White. Mellis drills in the ball. Dan Happy with the diving header to clear. We're in stoppage time here. And Leyton Orient a goal to the good. Mellis moves slowly towards the Leyton Orient penalty. Intercepted well by Cisse. And Cisse lays a good ball out to the left-hand side. Dan Johnson, on that occasion, just ran away from him. I spoke too soon.
Yeah, good idea from Cisse, who we haven't spoke about too much today, but that will be the last moment of the game, and it finishes with an Orient victory, Dave.
Absolutely, and it was. We knew it was going to be a test, and it was, from a physical Gillingham side, which is exactly what the O's would want. I think everybody came off unscathed, although I think Josh White might be feeling that knee over the course of the evening. And we've had a text or tweet come through from Fail Stuntman, and he's saying that both Angel and Johnson have impressed in pre-season, and indeed they have. Yeah,
they have. We spoke earlier, was that the starting team that potentially will be the starting 11 next week at Forest Green. We'll wait and see. It's a question Ross Embleton will be able to answer better. Connor Wilkinson, of course, came off at half-time. Hopefully that was just a decision from Ross Embleton rather than a decision enforced by any injuries or niggles. But good to see Josh Wright. He did get that clattering in the first half, but he continued, he made his way through, and he's completed 90 minutes, which again, you just want to make sure your players are fit and healthy at this stage. And of course, a clean sheet, a win for the O's. Ross Embleton will be happy with that.
I was impressed by Leyton Orient, especially in terms of the organisation.
Yeah, I think what was impressive more than in recent weeks was that it was a different encounter today. I know Northampton, there was a few tackles flying in at time, but today this was a really different test for the O's. They were dealing with a lot of long balls, a lot of balls played into the channel, a physical Gillingham team, but Orient matched them. They stayed organised throughout, and as I say, Ross Embleton, he's got all the players in a huddle now, as he has done in each of the games so far. He'll be talking through his final thoughts and giving his overall summary, but I think Ross Embleton won't have too many complaints about what he saw today.
No, he won't, and you know, it's not about the result, but it is nice to win, isn't it?
Oh, of course, yeah. You want to win in whatever game you play, and I'm sure the players are always competitive. Whatever the occasion, they will want to win when they're wearing a Leyton Orient shirt, and they've done that today. A bit of magic from Danny Johnson after picking up off of a Jack Tucker error, but as I say, it was an excellent finish from Danny Johnson. And I say, if there are any questions around who's going to be in that 11 next week, Ross Embleton might have a few headaches, probably in that forward line. If it is going to be a three-man front line, who is he going to play against Forest Green next week? We'll wait and see. But you say Angol's had a good pre-season. Danny Johnson's been rewarded with a couple of goals and a really hard-working performance again this afternoon. So he's got options there. No Royal Soteria today. He was left out the squad. Don't think that's down to anything severe. Lee Angol came on at half-time. Connor Wilkinson has been good in patches. Maguire Drew has had his moments. So it's going to be interesting.
It is, and plenty of positives from a cold afternoon in E10. Enjoy the rest of the bank holiday weekend. It's Bishop Stortford on bank holiday Monday, of course, after it's finished here. Leyton Orient 1, Gillingham 0. Thanks to Matt Hiscock. Thanks to everybody for your texts and tweets